What's up, guys? This is Chris, aka Barnon11970, and as always, I thank you all for coming and viewing my channel. Alright, guys, let's give a little bit of an update on what's going on with Cyprus. Basically, they were supposed to this morning, well, at least this morning, my time, Eastern Standard Time here in the United States of America Corporation, supposed to come up with a yes or no answer if they were going to steal the money out of the people's bank accounts. And like the typical governments throughout the world, they know that they're going to agree to this, but they couldn't really come up with a conclusion right away. So what did they do? They extended it. Now, what did that do to the people? Well, that also extended a bank holiday, which means that the people in Cyprus cannot get their money out of the bank. From what I've been reading, basically ATMs have been depleted. Some of them have been shut down. They're using the usual on the mainstream media fear tactics, saying that, oh, if we don't get this money from the people, they're going to end up losing everything because the banks will close down, even though that's probably the best thing that can happen. And I love the terminology, because then they say, well, they need to take this money out so they can get a bailout. Now, bailout suggests something good, doesn't it? Because they like to use nice words. It's nothing more than a loan. So they're saying how they are going to do this one time. Of course, like they say, I've never done this before kind of thing. A bunch of crap. Because when they get this loan, or if they get this loan, won't they have to repay that back plus interest? Where are they going to get the money then? So if they steal the people's money for this bailout, in other words, loan for more money that they have to pay back plus interest, what are they going to do when that comes due? You got to love these governments. You got to love these banks. This should prove that even on a tiny little island, that the banks do not care about the people. And I mean, I'm getting comments from people throughout the world saying that other banks from other countries are already starting to limit people's withdrawals. So I'm going to be withdrawing what little amount I even put in the bank, leave a little bit just to keep it open, and I might even think about taking some money out of my federal credit union. I'm not sure about that one yet. But I don't want to be waiting to see if it can happen here. I mean, can anybody say the phrase MF Global, where they took people's money out of their accounts? These things can happen. And let me ask you this question, especially the people who live in the United States of America Corporation, like I do. Since the U.S. dollar is backed by nothing, and they could technically print to infinity, can I ask anybody this question and see if they can answer it? Why do they need money from us? Why do they need our taxes? Why do they need interest? Can't they just print to infinity like they already can? So it shows that just because they could print to infinity, they don't want to keep printing to pay for things. They want to steal our wealth because it keeps us poor. And when you are poor, you have to depend on a system to take care of you. That's why you see so many people now on the welfare system and so many people on some kind of government program. Keep the people down. That's how you control them. Because if all of a sudden people didn't have bills to pay and didn't have any debts to repay, well, then they could live their lives better and they would have more wealth and they would be less likely to be controlled. There's a method to their madness, and this is why we have to stop it any way we can. And since the U.S. dollar and all fiat currencies throughout the world are nothing more than IOUs, debt notes, well, if we stop putting it in the system where they can create more money out of thin air, it will damage the system. Protests do nothing. What do they care if a bunch of people are going to stand out in the freezing cold holding a sign? Has it achieved anything? Not anything that really gets things done. Yeah, it might make people aware of it, but obviously nothing has changed. The best way to hurt somebody that's financially secure is to take away their money. So if you don't put money into the banks and help feed the system, they can't create more money from fractional banking. And if you don't know what fractional banking is, basically in a nutshell, every time you make a deposit in your bank or take out a loan or basically do anything where there's money involved in a bank, the bank can actually make 9 times the amount that you deposit or borrow or pay back out of thin air, and then distribute that money that people have to pay back with interest. It's nothing more than a Ponzi scheme that for some reason we all see as no problem and wonder why things are getting so shitty. So I'm taking as much money as I can out of the bank. I'm not going to wait to see if it happens, because then what do? There was a subscriber of mine says he lives in Italy and he has a French bank, and they're limiting him to 100 euros per day to withdraw out of his own account. So think about that. Your own money you can't touch, or you're very limited. I'm not waiting around. If you want to wait around, hey, that's fine, you know? Or go in today, while you still have the ability to purchase things, buy some gold and silver, because as you see, gold is now up over $1,600, and silver's flirting with 29 at this point. So as I've said, people flock to precious metals. The only reason it's not as high as it really should be is because we know it's manipulated by the paper price, and they're keeping it down to keep people basically from panicking. Because if the real price was up there, you'd see it going up every second, and more people would flock to it. And guess what? That kills the banks. They can't allow that to happen. So you guys do what you want with your money. I'm taking mine out of the bank, leave maybe $5 or $10 or something in there to keep it going. And when I know I have a bill to pay, I'll pay it right there. I'm not giving them any extra money. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. Peace.